3.2 billion people use social media daily. Daily users spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes per day on social media. But now people are raising the question, how does social media impact mental health? Because social media is so new, the amount of research done by psychologists and sociologists is minimal. However, some patterns are emerging. For example, social media is addicting. Every like, comment, and follower trigger a dopamine release. Anything that triggers this release has the potential to become an addiction. The addiction causes individuals to post frequently so that they can maintain the high derived from post-interaction. When not enough post-interactions occur, users feel sad, empty, and depressed. This fuels a spiral of even more posting. Social media can also have a very detrimental effect on self-image, especially in minors. One study demonstrated that people with normal attitudes toward their bodies began to get anxious and depressed if they were left to look in the mirror for 10 minutes. 10 minutes alone was long enough to get them obsessing over flaws, big pores, and all the other things that even well-adjusted people are conscious of in our appearance-driven world. This study teaches us that while looking at yourself is not a bad thing, if you examine yourself too frequently, it can be unhealthy. Examining yourself too frequently is exactly what apps like Snapchat facilitate. Users constantly take pictures of themselves for streaks and stories. Looking in the forward-facing camera forces the same type of detail obsession that mirrors do. Another effect that Snapchat is having in our society is that it is causing body dysmorphia in teens. Patients are going to plastic surgeons with pictures of themselves on which a Snapchat filter has been applied. They are asking to look like these doctored selfies, which is often an unattainable look because of the huge eyes, tiny nose, etc. It has been dubbed Snapchat dysmorphia, and it is causing plastic surgeons to become alarmed. Snapchat is starting to confuse people into thinking that they are supposed to look like a filter. It has confused people into thinking that beautiful and attractive look like a filter. This is dangerous. Social media is also starting to warp bullying in a very dangerous way. Social media makes bullying more public and reduces bullies' inhibitions by offering anonymity. When you're anonymous, you lose your filter because your words and actions can't be traced back to you. The big issue with this situation is that attacks from a random stranger still feel personal. Your brain can have a hard time distinguishing between anonymous hate and hate from friends in terms of how to respond. This is especially a problem on Twitter. Twitter is a platform that facilitates the sharing of complex ideas and loaded statements in 280 characters or less. Unfortunately, this is simply not enough space to fully articulate controversial ideas. Instead of productive conversation, tweets and their lack of detail often divulge into nasty attacks against fellow users. The reason this happens is because ideas the users are talking about carry strong emotional baggage, but the medium of text does not allow for the proper expression of emotions. This leads to frustration, and the anonymity of the platform allows users to lash out in vicious ways. The ultimate result is everyone is frustrated and no one's mind has been changed. Another danger of Twitter is the creation of echo chambers. Because it is so hard to have a meaningful conversation on Twitter, many users simply congregate into groups that think alike by following those who agree and blocking those who don't. This, of course, is something we do in everyday life, but it is much easier online. By only surrounding yourself with people who agree with you, it creates not only a fictional view of the world, but also a sense of tribalism. Additionally, social media facilitates an easy way of comparing your life to others.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
You go on Facebook, you see your friends in relationships, you feel lonely. You go on Snapchat, see your friends having fun, you feel left out. You go on Instagram, see models looking sexy, you feel ugly. Social media allows people to create personas that consist of good angles and life highlights. These personas are a poor reflection of reality, but they create the illusion of reality, and if people compare their real lives to these fake personas, they will rarely measure up. This comparison cycle fosters feelings of loneliness, inadequacy, low self-esteem, and depression. It should be obvious, but social media also has an effect on our social lives. Social media gives the illusion of greater connections and communication, but actually makes us emotionally lazy and able to disengage from relationships easily. Because of social media, we can stay secluded in our homes for days or even weeks, and yet many of us are still able to feel connected to our friends because we are constantly looking at pictures and videos of what they are doing. Unfortunately, this tends to result in relationships devoid of emotion, as the medium of text rarely communicates emotion adequately. Emotion tends to be the basis of intimacy, so online relationships tend to be devoid of that as well. A lack of emotional connection tends to allow for relationships to be ended quickly the second disagreement happens. The fragility of these relationships is not great for society. However, online relationships can also result in too much intimacy. This is called oversharing, and it is very easy to do online because you can communicate facts about yourself over text without also communicating the emotion that goes along with those facts. This leads to people feeling very connected to people they haven't even met in real life. But since the internet makes it easy to disappear, many individuals find themselves sharing a lot of information with someone only to be ghosted. Social media is not in and of itself a bad thing. It can be a great way to communicate with friends and keep up with family, but it can also destroy your life if you aren't careful. Be careful.